The cameras weren't supposed to be rolling when it happened, but they were. A tense silence filled the Atlanta set of Love and Hip Hop as Rasheeda Frost stormed out of the producers' meeting. Her voice echoing down the hallway. Nah, she played with my life. I'm done. Crew members froze, castmates whispered, and within minutes, the words Rasheeda cut from the show began spreading like wildfire through every gossip page in the city. For years, Rasheeda had been one of the franchise's most loyal faces, the businesswoman, the wife, the survivor of public heartbreak who somehow always turned pain into power. But now, after reports surfaced that Mona Scott-Young herself had personally decided to drop her from the upcoming spin-off, it seemed like the empire Rasheeda built with Kirk was about to crumble on live TV. Insiders say it wasn't just a professional fallout, it was personal. And Rasheeda's reaction? Nothing short of explosive. Sources close to production claim the tension had been brewing for weeks. Mona allegedly felt that Rasheeda had become too controlling of her storyline, refusing to film certain scenes, rejecting scripts that painted her marriage as unstable, and even threatening to walk off if producers brought Jasmine Washington back for another confrontation. One insider whispered, Rasheeda wasn't giving the drama anymore. Mona wants chaos, not calm. But what no one expected was how far things would spiral once Rasheeda found out she'd been blindsided. She reportedly learned she was being cut not from a phone call, but from an assistant's email, and when she realized Kirk had known days earlier but stayed quiet to keep the peace, her fury exploded. A producer described the moment as a real-life meltdown, tears, yelling, and a confession nobody saw coming. Fans are still piecing together the puzzle. Why would Mona risk losing one of the show's most bankable stars? Why now, when Rasheeda's businesses are thriving and her marriage appears stronger than ever? Some claim Mona was grooming a new face to replace her, a younger, more controversial voice who could stir up ratings. Others think it's all part of a secret rebranding strategy, something so big. VH1 allegedly threatened legal action if details leaked. But the real twist, Rasheeda isn't staying silent anymore. After days of speculation, she took to Instagram Live, her face still streaked with tears, and told over 300,000 viewers, "You don't play with people's livelihoods for TV. I gave that show my truth, and they tried to turn it into a joke." The chat exploded. Fans flooded the comments, demanding Mona speak up. And just like that, the entire cast was divided, some siding with Rasheeda, others accusing her of biting the hand that made her famous. Now everyone's asking, what really happened behind the scenes? Was this a business decision gone wrong? Or a personal betrayal years in the making? What secrets are hiding in those unaired episodes, and how far is Rasheeda willing to go to expose them? Because one thing's for sure, this isn't just TV drama anymore. This is war. Rasheeda's phone was still buzzing when she slammed the car door shut. Her hands were shaking, not from anger alone, but from disbelief. The kind that hits when you realize people you trusted have been smiling in your face while plotting your downfall behind closed doors. Nah, she really did that, she whispered to herself, eyes filling with tears as her reflection blurred in the window. Mona Scott-Young, the woman who built the empire, the woman who once called her the heart of the franchise, had just cut her loose like she was nothing. The moment felt unreal. Just 2 weeks earlier, Mona and Rasheeda were sitting in a production meeting, sipping coffee and laughing over old reunion footage. Mona had even promised her something major for the next season, a bigger role, new angles, more control. But behind the smiles, the decision had already been made. The storyline was shifting, and Rasheeda no longer fit the chaos-driven formula that kept the ratings alive. The first text came from Carly Red. "Girl, you see what they saying on TMZ?" Rasheeda ignored it. Another buzz followed seconds later. "Bambi, they dropped your name in the group chat. Mona had a meeting today. She said you too polished now." Rasheeda's throat tightened. Too polished? Too classy? Was that a crime? She had spent years rebuilding herself from the scandals, the cheating, the public humiliation. She finally had peace, and now they wanted to rip it away because it didn't sell enough drama. By the time she reached her boutique, press calls had already started. Reporters wanted quotes, fans wanted clarity. And Kirk was silent, sitting in the back office, scrolling through his phone like nothing happened. "So you knew." Rasheeda's voice cracked. He didn't look up. "Babe, I was gonna tell you," he said, voice low, almost defeated. "Mona said she wanted to handle it herself. I ain't wanna mess that up." Rasheeda stepped closer, her voice trembling between rage and heartbreak. "You mean to tell me my husband knew I was fired from the show that fed our family, and you said nothing?" He tried to reach for her hand, but she pulled away. "Not Kirk. You sat there smiling in meetings while they planned to erase me. You let them play with my life." She turned, walking out before he could answer. Outside, a crowd of fans had gathered, phones up, recording her every move. The irony stung. The same fame that gave her everything was now capturing her at her lowest. That night, social media exploded. Hashtags like hashtag justice for Rasheeda and hashtag Mona exposed started trending. Fan pages dissected every interview, every clip, every subtle moment from past episodes, trying to find signs of tension between the two women. An anonymous VH1 insider account dropped a voice note, allegedly from a production assistant, saying, "Rasheeda got too hard to control. She wanted final say in editing. Mona wasn't having it." Whether real or fake, the leak sent shockwaves through the fandom. Meanwhile, Mona stayed silent. No statement. No denial. Nothing but cryptic Instagram stories about outgrowing energy that no longer aligns. It didn't take long for fans to put the pieces together. "Mona's talking about Rasheeda." One comment read, "This is about loyalty and money, not energy." Another user wrote, "How you cut the queen who carried the franchise." Behind the scenes, Rasheeda's team was scrambling. Her manager, Latrice, tried to do damage control. "We can spin this," she said, pacing the room. "We'll say you left voluntarily. Brand yourself as bigger than VH1. But Rasheeda wasn't hearing it. "No, I want the truth out," she said firmly. "They lied to me. They lied to the fans. I gave them my life, my marriage, my tears, and they turned around and threw me away like a storyline gone stale." Meanwhile, Jasmine Washington, the woman once at the center of Rasheeda's biggest scandal, posted a story of her own. It was a selfie with the caption, "Karma always spins the block." The timing was too perfect to ignore. Fans flooded her comments with fire emojis and accusations, reigniting years of old drama. "You happy now?" one user wrote. Jasmine replied with a single laughing emoji. Back at home, Kirk tried to repair the damage. "Babe, you know Mona don't mean harm like that," he said, sitting beside her on the couch. "It's just business." Rasheeda turned to him slowly, her eyes red but sharp. "Business," she repeated. "So ruining my reputation is business. Making me look like the angry black woman who can't follow direction, that's business." Kirk sighed, unsure how to answer. Then, as if on cue, her phone rang again. It was Mimi Faust. "Girl, I don't even know what to say." Mimi's voice came through, soft but full of shock. "They got everyone shook. They saying you was replaced by some new girl from Houston, some influencer with a scandal already." Rasheeda rubbed her temples. "So that's it then. After all these years, I'm replaced by somebody who ain't even paid her dues." Mimi hesitated. "Look sis, you know how Mona do. She wants new blood. Controversy keeps the lights on." Rasheeda exhaled deeply, the kind of sigh that comes from years of holding everything together. "Nah, Mimi, not this time. If they think they can erase me, they got another thing coming. I made that show what it is." Her voice hardened, her composure slowly returning. "And I'm not going down quiet." Later that night, a mysterious clip surfaced online. A snippet of what seemed like a recorded phone call between Rasheeda and a VH1 producer. The voice, eerily similar to Mona's, could be heard saying, "Look, she's not bringing the drama anymore. We need something unpredictable for next season." Then, another voice, Rasheeda's replying, "Unpredictable? You mean fake?" "I don't do fake." The internet went crazy. Some claimed it was edited. Others said it was proof of betrayal. Blogs ran headlines like "Mona exposed plotting, Rasheeda's exit and VH1 producers caught on tape manipulating cast." Within hours, Mona's team released a short statement calling the audio fabricated nonsense, but for Rasheeda's fans, the damage was already done. That clip became the spark for what fans began calling the Frost Rebellion. Thousands of comments, tweets, and even petitions started demanding VH1 reinstate her. A few even threatened to boycott the show entirely. "No Rasheeda, no watch," read one viral tweet that got over 200K likes. The next morning, Rasheeda woke up to chaos. Reporters outside her store, producers calling non-stop. Even TMZ had parked a van outside her house. Kirk handed her his phone, showing her a trending hashtag, hashtag Mona Cancelgate. She couldn't help but laugh bitterly. "So now I'm a headline again," she muttered. Kirk tried to smile. "At least they still talking about you." She shot him a look that shut him down instantly. In the middle of the storm, Mona finally called. Her voice was calm. "Rasheeda, can we talk?" Rasheeda didn't hesitate. "Talk after what you did." "Now Mona, you can talk to my lawyer." But Mona persisted. "Listen, you know this isn't personal. The network wanted something different. You're bigger than reality TV now. That's what I told them." Rasheeda laughed, disbelief dripping from every syllable. "You told them?" Or you told me that while stabbing me in the back. Silence followed. Long, uncomfortable silence. Mona sighed. You're emotional right now. Let's regroup later. Click. Rasheeda threw her phone onto the bed, tears welling again. Emotional, she whispered. That's always the excuse. When we're angry, we're emotional. When we stand up for ourselves, we're difficult. Nah, I'm not being emotional, I'm being real. Outside, thunder rolled across the Atlanta skyline. Fans didn't know it yet, but this was just the beginning. The empire was cracking. Alliances were shifting. And for the first time in years, Rasheeda wasn't the one playing by Mona's rules. She was ready to burn it all down, and the flames were just getting started. The next day, word spread like wildfire that Rasheeda had officially unfollowed Mona on Instagram, and in the world of reality TV, that small digital act meant war. Blogs went into overdrive. Posting, side-by-side, screenshots, and dramatic headlines like Rasheeda cuts ties with her boss and friendship over for good. But behind the trending chaos, something deeper was brewing. While fans were dissecting every emoji, Rasheeda was sitting alone in her boutique office, staring at the blinking cursor on her phone screen. She had drafted, deleted, and retyped the same post a dozen times. Part of her wanted to tell the world everything, the lies, the manipulation, the meetings where Mona told her to cry harder for better ratings. But another part of her still hesitated. Loyalty had always been her weakness. She wasn't ready to go nuclear. Yet, then her phone buzzed again, this time, from Erica Mena. Sis, tell me you're not letting her spin this. Erica's voice blared through the speaker. You know how she do. She'll make it look like you walked away. Rasheeda sighed, rubbing her temples. I'm tired, Erica. I've been loyal, I've been quiet. I gave her everything. Erica shot back. Quiet don't get you justice. It gets you erased. Later that evening, a small private dinner took place at a downtown Atlanta restaurant, and for the first time in years, the old crew sat together without cameras rolling. Erica, Mimi, Bambi, and Carly. Each of them had stories about Mona, old grudges, unaired fights, shady edits that twisted reality into ratings. Mona's been playing chess while we've been playing checkers, Mimi said, stirring her drink. She creates drama, then hides her hands. Rasheeda leaned back, letting their voices swirl around her. Maybe it's time we show people what really goes on, she said quietly. Erica nodded. A documentary. Tell your side before she spins it. Carly smirked. Oh, that would break the internet. Meanwhile, Mona was moving just as strategically. She'd already scheduled an emergency meeting with VH1 execs. We can't let this turn into another production scandal, she said firmly. Control the narrative before Rasheeda does. Emails flew across networks. PR teams began drafting statements. And somewhere in Los Angeles, a new contract was being drawn up, one that would replace Rasheeda with a fiery newcomer known only by her social media handle. Back in Atlanta, the Frost household was tense. Kirk was pacing, phone glued to his ear, trying to salvage deals that were suddenly on hold. We gotta be smart about this, he muttered. The show pulled out, sponsors getting cold feet. Rasheeda didn't respond. She was scrolling through thousands of comments on her last Instagram post. Fans were rallying hard, tagging VH1, calling for boycotts, demanding justice. See, she said softly, they still believe in me. Kirk looked up. Yeah, but belief don't pay bills, baby. We need a plan. That night, she went live again. Over 400,000 people joined in minutes. Her voice was calm at first, almost too calm. I've been quiet because I needed time to process, she began. But since people want to twist stories, let me tell you mine. She paused, glancing at the comments flying up the screen. They said I was too polished, too boring, that I didn't bring enough chaos. But I'm not here to be a clown for ratings. I'm a woman with a family, a brand, a life. The live turned raw, unfiltered. She recounted moments when producers pushed her to confront Kirk on camera right after real fights. How they edited her tears into sound bites. How they cut footage to make her look cold instead of strong. You don't know what it's like to relive your worst moments because someone thinks it'll get 1 million views, she said, her voice trembling. You think it's all entertainment till it's your marriage on the line. The next morning, clips from her live were everywhere. Shade Room, Neighborhood Talk, even CNN Entertainment picked it up. Rasheeda Frost breaks silence on toxic reality TV culture, one headline read. And for the first time, the narrative started to shift. She wasn't just a fired cast member anymore. She was a woman fighting back against an industry that had chewed her up and tried to spit her out. But Mona wasn't backing down. That afternoon, she dropped a perfectly worded statement through her team. We value Rasheeda's contributions and wish her the best. Creative directions evolve. Change is inevitable. This statement was professional, emotionless, and exactly what set Rasheeda off. She retweeted it with 3 words that broke the internet. "You lied. Period." Within hours, DMs and leaked messages started surfacing. Someone from inside VH1, still unidentified, sent bloggers screenshots of internal memos allegedly discussing how to phase out older cast members in favor of fresh storylines. The memo listed names, including Rasheeda, Mimi, and Carly. Fans were furious. So they age-shaming now? One tweet said. Another read, "So loyalty means nothing in this business." As the storm grew, Mona's camp went into full-blown defense mode. Anonymous accounts popped up defending her, accusing Rasheeda of being difficult and ungrateful. One even claimed she refused to film reunion episodes unless she was guaranteed final approval. "That's not being a boss," one insider said. "That's being controlling." Rasheeda didn't respond publicly. Not yet. But privately, she was planning her next move. "They want to play dirty," she told Kirk. "Fine, I'll show them how dirty it can get." She pulled out her laptop and started drafting something that would change everything, an open letter. Over the next 48 hours, she wrote and rewrote every word, pouring years of frustration, betrayal, and pain into it. When she finally hit post, the caption read, "This isn't just my story, it's every woman who's been told to cry, on cue. Smile through pain, and pretend her trauma is entertainment." The internet exploded again. Celebrities began reposting her letter. K. Michelle, Tiny Harris, even Tamer Braxton chimed in with support. "This industry will break you if you let it," Tamer tweeted. Respect to Rasheeda for speaking her truth. Mona, however, saw it differently. During a private Zoom with execs, she reportedly snapped, "If she wants war, she'll get war." Insiders later leaked that quote, adding gasoline to an already raging fire. And then came the twist no one saw coming. A leaked production email thread revealed that Mona had been planning a Rasheeda exit storyline months before telling her. The thread included detailed scene ideas, including a staged argument between Rasheeda and Kirk, followed by a dramatic goodbye moment. The plan was to make it look like Rasheeda chose to leave, not that she was being pushed out. The betrayal cut deep. "They were gonna fake my goodbye," she muttered in disbelief when her assistant showed her the screenshots. Kirk clenched his jaw. "This ain't just shady, this illegal." Rasheeda nodded slowly, eyes hardening. Then it's time they see what happens when the quiet one starts talking. As night fell over Atlanta, Rasheeda posted one final message on her story, a black screen with white text that read, "You wanted a storyline, Mona. You got one?" The comments exploded instantly. Fans sensed something major was coming, something that would shake VH1 to its core. What they didn't know yet was that Rasheeda wasn't just planning to clap back. She was about to expose everything. The following morning the world woke up to chaos. Blogs couldn't keep up, fans were losing their minds, and VH1's offices were reportedly on lockdown. Overnight, a 9-minute audio clip had leaked to social media. A clip that sounded like Mona Skochung herself admitting that Rasheeda's firing had been strategic. The recording spread like wildfire before dawn, reposted thousands of times with the hashtag Monagate. In it, Mona's voice allegedly said, "Rasheeda's arc is complete. She's too controlled now. The audience wants mess, not management." The internet exploded. By 8 a.m., Rasheeda Frost was the #1 trending topic on Twitter. Fans dissected every word, debating whether the audio was real or edited. Some claimed it came from a production meeting, others thought it was a setup. But Rasheeda knew exactly where it came from. She had recorded that call herself months ago, when she started sensing that something wasn't right. Sitting at her vanity with a cup of coffee, she watched the chaos unfold online. Kirk walked in, his expression a mix of fear and awe. "You really dropped it, huh?" he said quietly. She looked up at him through the mirror, unbothered. "I didn't drop anything. Truth dropped itself." The phone rang non-stop. Blogs, networks, journalists, even Netflix, sniffing around for documentary rights. But the one call she didn't expect came from Mona herself. "So this how you wanna play?" Mona's voice was sharp, almost cold. "You think dragging my name online gonna fix your career?" Rasheeda didn't flinch. "Nah, Mona. It's not about fixing anything. It's about ending the lies." For a moment, silence hung heavy between them. Then Mona snapped, "You better watch what you say. Contracts are still binding." Rasheeda laughed softly. "Contracts don't cover betrayal." Click. The war had officially begun. Within hours, Mona's legal team released a statement calling the leaked clip doctored and defamatory. But fans weren't buying it. Someone even slowed down the audio and matched Mona's voice patterns with previous interviews. It's her, one viral post claimed, comparing waveforms side by side. The tone, the inflection, this is 100% real. Production assistants began whispering anonymously to gossip pages. One wrote, "Everybody knew this was coming. Mona been phasing Rasheeda out for months." Another leaked text showed producers discussing how to spin the narrative before she retaliates. The industry's worst-kept secret was now front-page news. Rasheeda's boutique in Atlanta became a media circus. Cameras lined the sidewalk. Fans showed up holding signs reading Team Rasheeda and "We believe you." She greeted them briefly, smiling faintly despite the exhaustion etched across her face. "Thank y'all for standing with me," she said. "This ain't about drama, it's about respect." Meanwhile, Kirk's phone buzzed again. This time, message from VH1's publicist. "If Rasheeda doesn't retract the leak, legal action is imminent." Kirk exhaled hard. "They serious, bae? They talking lawsuits?" Rasheeda looked at him calmly. "Let them. Maybe they'll finally have to tell the truth in court." Behind closed doors, VH1 executives were panicking. Advertisers were threatening to pull out, and internal emails showed the network debating whether to publicly suspend production until the storm passed. But Mona had a different idea. "Spin it," she told her team. "Leak that Rasheeda planned this all along for attention. Turn her into the villain." And just like that, gossip blogs started dropping anonymous tips. One headline screamed, "Rasheeda orchestrated fake scandal to promote new skincare line." Another claimed she had mental breakdowns on set and was impossible to work with. Mona was weaponizing the media she once used to build her stars. Now she was using it to destroy one. Rasheeda saw it coming. She stayed silent for 2 days, letting the smear campaign unfold. But then she struck back in the most unexpected way. She uploaded a never-before-seen clip from an unaired reunion episode, one that VH1 had cut from broadcast. In the footage, Mona could be heard off-camera instructing the cast to amp up the energy and keep crying for the cameras. When Mimi protested, Mona snapped, "We don't need your peace talk, we need chaos." Fans were stunned. It wasn't just a leak, it was proof that Mona manipulated real pain for ratings. Comments poured in. "This changes everything. So all that drama was staged. They've been exploiting these women." Within hours, the video racked up millions of views. Mona's empire started to crack. Even longtime allies began distancing themselves. Carly Red posted a cryptic tweet. "Some of us been quiet too long." Bambi followed with, "Reality TV ain't reality." The entire cast was slowly turning. One night, Mona finally called a crisis meeting. Her voice trembled for the first time. "We're losing control of the narrative," she admitted. "We need a distraction." One producer suggested announcing a new spin-off to drown the noise. Another whispered, "What if we bring Rasheeda back for a reconciliation special?" Mona's eyes widened. "Never. She made me look weak." Back in Atlanta, Rasheeda sat with her mother, Miss Shirlene, who'd just seen the leaked reunion clip. "Baby, they can't play you like that," her mom said fiercely. "You've been too loyal to them people." Rasheeda nodded, voice trembling. "I'm done playing nice, Ma. I'm gonna expose every single lie." That night, she began gathering evidence, old emails, texts, unreleased footage. Her laptop became her weapon. Kirk tried to stop her. "Babe, think about what you're doing. This could burn everything." Rasheeda looked him dead in the eye. It already did. As midnight hit, she uploaded a 22-minute video titled "The Truth They Didn't Want You to See." It opened with her saying, "For years, I stayed silent because I believed loyalty mattered. But loyalty without respect is just slavery." The video then cut to unseen behind-the-scenes clips, producers, feeding lines, setting up fake fights, even coaching emotional reactions. It was devastating. The internet erupted again. Millions watched within hours. VH1's stock dropped by 8%. The network issued a statement saying the footage was unauthorized, but the damage was irreversible. Celebrities weighed in. Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Kik Palmer, all voicing support for Rasheeda. "It's giving exploitation," Cardi tweeted. Nicki reposted the video on her story, captioning it, "Stand on truth always." Mona's team went silent. For the first time, the woman who controlled the chaos couldn't control the narrative. Meanwhile, Rasheeda's lawyer received an anonymous tip, a USB drive left at the front desk of her boutique. It contained even more shocking files, internal memos detailing producer bonuses for high-conflict episodes, and notes grading cast members on cry performance. Rasheeda stared at the screen, speechless. This is how they rated our pain." Kirk leaned over, shaking his head. "They turned your life into a spreadsheet." Rasheeda closed the laptop slowly. "Then it's time the world sees the whole spreadsheet." As dawn broke, she posted one final message before disappearing from social media for the rest of the day. Next drop coming soon. This time, it's receipts. The internet lost its mind. Fans refreshed her page every few minutes, waiting for the next bombshell. And somewhere in Los Angeles, Mona Scott sat in her office. Phone pressed to her ear, whispering, "If she releases those files, the entire franchise collapses." But it was already too late. The truth was out, and nothing, not threats, not lawyers, not spin, could stop the storm that Rasheeda Frost had just unleashed. By the next morning, the entertainment world was on fire. Gossip blogs, news outlets, and even late-night hosts were talking about the Frost files. That's what fans had started calling the USB drive leak, and it was no longer just a VH1 scandal. It was a full-blown industry reckoning. Networks were scrambling, lawyers were panicking, and every producer who'd ever worked under Mona Scott Young suddenly went quiet. Rasheeda hadn't even posted the files yet. All she had done was tease their existence, but that alone had the power to shake the entire reality TV system. The hashtag release the files trended globally for 48 straight hours. Fans were tagging major outlets, demanding accountability. "If she drops those receipts," one tweet read, "half the industry's done." Kirk walked into their living room that morning with a nervous energy. "Baby, we need to talk about this," he said, pacing. "These people got money, power, lawyers that eat folks alive." Rasheeda sat calmly on the couch, scrolling through her mentions. "They've been eating off us for years," she said. "It's time they taste their own meal." Then came the call that changed everything. A producer from Netflix reached out directly. "We're interested in a docuseries," he said. "Uncut, unfiltered. The real story behind the reality." Rasheeda hesitated. "You mean my story?" The voice on the other end paused before replying. "No, our story. All the women who were silenced." For a moment, she said nothing. Then she smiled faintly. "Send the contract." Meanwhile, Mona's camp was unraveling. Insider reports claimed that VH1 had launched an internal audit after discovering multiple deleted files from production servers. One whistleblower even claimed that certain reunion clips were edited to create artificial villains. The network's credibility was collapsing by the hour. Mona herself had gone dark. No public appearances, no interviews, not even a social media post. But her silence didn't stop the leaks. Someone from her own circle sent bloggers a photo of her looking disheveled outside her office, captioned "The Queen of Chaos finally losing her crown." The internet feasted on it. Rasheeda, however, wasn't celebrating. She was planning her final blow. She wanted her next move to be bigger than an Instagram live, bigger than a tweet, something permanent. She called her manager Latrice and said, "I want to sit down and tell everything." Camera rolling. No cuts, no producers, no scripts. Within days, a full production team assembled in her Atlanta home. The setting was simple, soft lighting, muted tones, and Rasheeda sitting on a velvet chair with her laptop beside her. "Roll it," she said quietly. The cameras started. She took a deep breath. "This is not revenge," she began. "This is truth." Then she clicked play on the first file from the USB drive. The footage was worse than anyone imagined. It showed producers coaching cast members before scenes, manipulating conversations, even faking text messages for one clip showed Mona herself approving an edit that made Rasheeda look like she'd forgiven Kirk too soon after the cheating scandal. "Add the slow music. Make her look desperate," Mona said in the clip. The video spread like wildfire again, but this time, it wasn't just entertainment news covering it. Rolling Stone, The Guardian, even The Washington Post picked it up. The headlines were brutal. Reality TV's dark truth, exploitation for ratings. Former stars speak out against VH1 practices. Rasheeda Frost blows the whistle on reality manipulation. Other cast members began coming forward too. Mimi posted a video confirming parts of Rasheeda's story. "She's not lying," Mimi said. "They made us fight. They made us cry. They edited our pain into punchlines." Even Carly Red, who'd been silent until now, posted a message reading, "You can't silence truth forever." Inside VH1's headquarters, panic turned to damage control. Lawyers drafted statements. PR teams scrambled to contain the fallout. One leaked email revealed execs debating whether to sue Rasheeda or offer her a settlement to keep quiet. One executive allegedly wrote, "If she drops everything, we lose advertisers and potentially our license renewal." But Rasheeda wasn't backing down. Instead, she doubled down. She posted a new video titled Part 2, The Betrayal. In it, she showed messages from producers encouraging her to make up with Jasmine Washington for a redemption arc. The twist? They offered Jasmine a secret appearance fee to bait Rasheeda into an on-camera breakdown. They wanted to turn my healing into a plot twist, she said through tears. And I let them. The emotional honesty struck a chord with millions. Fans flooded her page with messages of love, support, and apologies for ever believing the edited version of her life. You carried that show for years. One fan wrote, "They owe you everything." By now, the entire industry was watching. Other reality TV networks started quietly reviewing their contracts. Behind the scenes, executives whispered about a Rasheeda rule, a clause that would require cast members to approve storylines before airing. Mona, meanwhile, had finally broken her silence, but not in the way fans expected. During a private call with her legal team, she reportedly said, "If she keeps this up, I'll burn everything down myself." That quote leaked too. Rasheeda didn't respond directly, but her next post said everything. A single photo of her and Kirk standing together outside their store with the caption, "Built from pain, standing in truth." Days later, Netflix officially confirmed the new documentary deal, Behind the Reality, the Rasheeda Frost story. It would follow her journey from TV star to whistleblower, exposing the underbelly of reality television. Filming began immediately, with a full crew documenting her every move. As production started, something unexpected happened. Mona reached out again. This time, not with threats, just one short message. "We should talk." Rasheeda stared at the text for a long time. Kirk asked, "You gonna respond?" She finally replied, "No." She had her chance. But behind that calm decision, Rasheeda knew something bigger was coming. Power like Mona's didn't fade quietly, it imploded violently. And when it did, everyone caught in the blast would feel it. Late one night, as she sat reviewing footage for her docuseries, her phone buzzed again. It was an unknown number. The message read, "You think you know everything. You don't. Check your email." She froze, opened her laptop, and what she saw made her heart stop, a folder titled Project Rebirth. Inside were confidential VH1 files outlining a secret spin-off series, built around her downfall. Storyboards, fake press leaks, even scripts using her name. They had planned it all along. She sat there in silence, staring at the screen. "So this was their plan," she whispered. "To destroy me and make money from it." Her eyes hardened. Not anymore. The war wasn't over, it had just entered its deadliest round. Rasheeda's hands trembled as she scrolled through the files marked Project Rebirth. There were episode outlines, mock headlines, and casting notes for a new generation of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. The very first line read, Episode 1, Rasheeda Frost meltdown goes viral, opening the door for new talent to rise. They had planned to turn her pain into the pilot of a reboot. She stared at the screen, her pulse racing. They weren't just erasing her, they were rewriting her downfall as entertainment. She opened another Documentan email chain between a VH1 executive and Mona's assistant. One line stood out like a slap. "We'll leak the breakdown scene first, then frame it as an emotional collapse. Audience sympathy will be minimal once we control the clips." She pushed her chair back, pacing the room. "They plotted my destruction like it was a storyline," she whispered. Kirk came in, confused. "What's wrong?" She turned the laptop toward him. "Look at this. They wanted to film my real life breaking apart and call it content." Kirk's jaw tightened. "We can sue them for this. This is beyond dirty." But Rasheeda shook her head. "No. Lawsuits take years. I'm done playing behind closed doors. I'm going public, everything. Unfiltered." The next morning, she went live again, her voice steady but burning with emotion. "Y'all think you've seen everything? No. They didn't just fire me, they planned to profit off my breakdown. They wrote scripts about my pain before it even happened." She held up her laptop to the camera, showing one of the leaked pages. "See this? They called it Project Rebirth. You know what that means? Replace me, bury me, and sell my story without me." The comments exploded instantly. "They evil for this. We standing with you. Cancel VH1. Fans wrote. The live hit 500,000 viewers before it even reached the 10-minute mark. She didn't stop there. She named names, executives, producers, and even a senior editor who once told her, "If you don't cry on cue, we'll find someone who will." By noon, VH1's offices were in full meltdown mode. Emails leaked again, this time from inside legal. One executive wrote, "We can't contain this. Advertisers already pulling." Another replied, "If this goes to court, Discovery will destroy us." Mona tried to reach her privately again, but Rasheeda ignored the call. Instead, she posted a cryptic story, just white text on a black background. "Mona, you made the game, but I learned how to play it better." That post alone racked up millions of views. Every celebrity blog reposted it. Fans were choosing sides, and for the first time, Mona wasn't winning. Behind the scenes, Mona's team tried to flip the narrative one last time. A shady blog suddenly released leaked texts claiming Rasheeda was staging the entire scandal to promote her Netflix deal. But fans immediately called out the screenshots as fake timestamps didn't match. And one of the supposed messages used Rasheeda's old phone number. "Nice try, Mona," one fan commented. "You can't outspin the truth now." By now, the situation had gone beyond entertainment gossip. Mainstream outlets were covering it as a story about manipulation, gender politics, and power in media. The New York Times ran a headline that read, "Rasheeda Frost and the Fall of the Reality TV Empire." And just when everyone thought it couldn't get messier, another bomb dropped. An anonymous whistleblower calling themselves Shadow Producer uploaded an entire folder of unreleased production footage to Reddit. The clips showed Mona yelling at crew members, instructing them to edit around any footage that made her look bad. One especially damaging moment caught her saying, "If Rasheeda won't play victim, make her look like the villain." Fans couldn't believe it. This was the proof they'd been waiting for. Hashtags like hashtag Mona manipulated and hashtag RASHEEDA was right flooded social media. Within 48 hours, VH1 was forced to issue an official apology to viewers, promising a comprehensive investigation into production practices. Meanwhile, Mona's empire began to crumble from within. Sponsors pulled funding, staff members quit, and upcoming projects were quietly shelved. Reports claimed Mona had gone into hiding, avoiding press entirely. Rasheeda, on the other hand, was glowing under the pressure. Her Netflix docuseries was in full production. Camera crews followed her as she launched a new foundation aimed at protecting young women in reality TV from exploitation. She called it Real Truth Media. The tagline, "No more scripts for our pain." Still, she knew it wasn't over. There was one file on the USB drive she hadn't opened yet labeled, "Confidential." Cast contracts. Latrice warned her to be careful. That file could burn the whole house down. She said, "Are you ready for that?" Rasheeda looked her dead in the eye. "It's already on fire." She opened it and froze. Inside were signatures, payment records, and secret amendments showing how certain cast members were paid bonuses to betray others on camera. It named specific people, friends she had trusted for years. Her heart sank. "So it wasn't just Mona," she said quietly. "They were all in on it." One of the names made her gasp out loud. "Kirk, your name's here." Kirk's face went pale. "What you talking about?" He took the laptop, scanning the page. There it was in black and white, a payment authorization to Kirk Frost for storyline cooperation bonus. She stared at him, her voice cracking. "You got paid to make me look stupid on TV." He froze, unable to speak. "Baby, it wasn't like that." She cut him off. "Don't. Just don't." Her voice trembled, but her eyes stayed fierce. "You let them use me, and you let them break me, all for a check." The silence between them was unbearable. Kirk reached for her hand, but she pulled away. "I trusted you to protect me, not sell me." The cameras filming her docuseries caught everything: the heartbreak, the betrayal, the truth. The moment went viral within hours. Fans flooded the comments with heartbreak emojis and anger. She was betrayed by everyone, one wrote. First, the network. Now Kirk. Rasheeda didn't hide it. She addressed it in her next interview. "That file broke me," she said softly, "but it also freed me. I'm not covering for anyone anymore. Not Mona, not Kirk, not VH1. I'm done being the storyline." And that was the moment her story stopped being about revenge and became something bigger. Revolution. Young women across America began using the hashtag #HashMyTruth, sharing their own stories of exploitation in entertainment. Former reality stars came forward with testimonies. Producers started resigning. Networks issued apologies. But in private, Mona was furious. She started calling former cast members, trying to build alliances again. "If we don't stick together, we all go down," she warned. Some ignored her. Others leaked the calls. It was over. By the end of the week, VH1 announced an indefinite suspension of all Love and Hip Hop productions pending internal review. Mona's company was under investigation for unethical conduct, and Rasheeda, against all odds, was now being hailed as a hero. But she didn't smile. Not yet, because deep down, she knew the fight wasn't finished. For every truth she exposed, there was still something darker hiding under the surface. Something even she hadn't seen yet. As she looked at the remaining locked folder on the USB labeled "Confidential," Mona private logs, she whispered, "One last truth," and clicked it open. The folder opened slowly, line after line of encrypted text decrypting, until a dozen subfolders appeared, each named after cast members. producers, and internal code names. One stood out immediately. RF Files Priority. Rasheeda clicked it, and her screen flooded with scanned documents, private emails, and recorded memos labeled Confidential Property of Monami Productions. The first document made her breath catch, a signed internal report from 3 years ago that said, Subject Rasheeda Frost is emotionally valuable for long-term manipulation. Maintain marital tension narrative. Ensure periodic conflict for rating stability. Her hands shook. This wasn't just shady editing. This was psychological warfare. They had mapped out her real emotions like data points, analyzing her marriage for maximum drama. Maintain marital tension narrative repeated over and over. She scrolled further emails between Mona and senior editors, discussing ways to keep Kirk's sympathy quotient higher than Rasheeda's to maintain gender polarity. Another note read, if she resists filming, reframe as unprofessional for audience bias. It wasn't just betrayal, it was orchestration. Mona had turned her life into a social experiment. The next file was an audio recording Mona's voice again, calm and calculating. If she cries, zoom in. If she forgives him too easily, add dramatic score. We control her legacy, not her. Rasheeda covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. This wasn't just about being cut from the show, it was about being owned. Her image, her reputation, even her emotions had been scripted. She hit record on her phone, whispering shakily, they built me just to break me, and I'm done being broken. Later that night, she called we're going live tomorrow, she said. Latrice hesitated. You sure? This could end Mona completely. Rasheeda didn't blink. Good, she ended me a long time ago. It's time people saw how deep this went. The next morning, she went live again, this time from her boutique, surrounded by cameras for the Netflix team. Today, she said, her voice firm, you're going to hear things that might change how you see everything. This isn't a storyline anymore. This is evidence. She played the audio of Mona's voice. The moment it hit the internet, chaos erupted. Journalists, fans, and even former producers began confirming the files were real. I was there when those meetings happened, one ex-editor tweeted. We were told to manipulate her image. The live stream shattered records. Over 2 million viewers tuned in within the first hour. She read excerpts of the documents aloud, exposing internal memos about coercion tactics and mental manipulation. They studied us, she said, her voice trembling but steady. They learned how to make us cry, how to make us fight, and how to make youth of viewers pick sides. The world watched, stunned. The comments section turned into a tidal wave of support. Rasheeda, you're saving lives. This is bigger than TV. Mona needs to be held accountable. Somewhere in Los Angeles, Mona Scott watched the stream from her office, her usually composed face pale. Shut it down, she ordered her assistant. We have to shut this down now. But it was too late. Once the files were public, they spread across every major platform, Reddit, X, TikTok, Telegram. Within hours, every entertainment outlet was running the same headline. Rasheeda Frost exposes secret psychological manipulation program at Monami Productions. VH1 immediately severed ties with Mona. A statement from the network read, we are deeply disturbed by the revelations and have initiated a full investigation. Advertisers pulled out, celebrities unfollowed her, and legal teams started circling. Mona's empire crumbled in real time. Staffers leaked even more dirt: financial misconduct, rigged contracts, and intimidation tactics. The woman once seen as untouchable was suddenly isolated. But amid the destruction, Rasheeda didn't gloat. She stood in her boutique that night, staring into the camera one last time for her documentary. This isn't revenge, she said quietly. This is freedom. For me, and for everyone who's ever been told their pain was just part of the show. The scene cut to her walking outside, surrounded by cheering fans holding signs that read, we believe you, and truth wins. Kirk trailed behind, silent, guilt etched across his face. When a reporter shouted, Rasheeda, what's next for you? She paused, smiled faintly, and said, living my life without a script. That same night, Mona released one final statement. The footage was taken out of context, but no one believed her. The files were too detailed, too damning. The final blow came weeks later when Netflix dropped the teaser for Behind the Reality, the Rasheeda Frost story. In the trailer, clips of her crying, laughing, and standing tall played over her voice saying, they took my story, but I took it back. The internet exploded all over again. And as the trailer ended, one last image appeared, a single line from the leaked document glowing on screen. Subject exhibits too much resilience to be fully controlled. The world finally understood. Resilience had been her rebellion all along. The day the Netflix trailer dropped, Atlanta felt different. Outside, press vans crowded the boutique, fans left flowers on the sidewalk, and TV anchors called it the reality reckoning. But inside her store, Rasheeda was quiet. The noise outside couldn't reach her anymore. She sat by the window with a cup of coffee, the early light falling across stacks of papers and a sleeping laptop. Kirk stood at the counter, fidgeting, trying to find words that didn't sound rehearsed. "You did it," he said finally. "They all seeing the truth now." Rasheeda didn't look up. "Truth don't fix everything," she said softly. "It just shows who broke it." He started to say something, then stopped. He knew nothing he could offer would erase what she'd read in those files, his name on that list. The money, the betrayal. For years he'd thought he was protecting their business, not realizing he was selling out the person who built it. The phone buzzed again. Her manager looked. "You trending again," she said. "CNN wants a sit-down, and Oprah's team just called." Rasheeda managed a faint smile. "Tell them I'll talk once the story's out, not before." She was done letting anyone else control the edit. Across the country, networks were in damage control mode. VH1 suspended all Love and Hip Hop programming indefinitely. Mona's name disappeared from official credits overnight. Insiders said she was hiding out in Miami, avoiding cameras, trying to keep what was left of her production company alive. But her silence didn't last. 2 nights later, a shaky video appeared on social media. Mona in a dimly lit room, eyes swollen, voice unsteady. "I never meant to hurt anyone," she said. "I built something that got away from me." The clip went viral, but not the way she hoped. Fans called it too late, too scripted. The apology written by a lawyer. The empire she'd built on confessionals and chaos had turned on her. Meanwhile, Rasheeda's documentary crew kept filming. The cameras followed her through her routine, opening her boutique, visiting her mom, recording new music for the first time in years. No producers feeding lines, no forced arguments, just her. "This feels weird," she admitted to the camera one afternoon. "For the first time, nobody's telling me what to feel. It's quiet, too quiet sometimes. But maybe that's what healing sounds like." When the docuseries premiered, it was an event. Streaming numbers crashed within hours of release. Viewers around the world watched as the story unfolded from betrayal to empowerment. They saw the files, the leaked calls, the broken trust, and the woman who refused to be defined by them. The final episode ended with her walking through an empty soundstage where she once filmed scenes for Love and Hip Hop. She looked around, smiled, and said, "This is where they made the show. But this is where I found myself." After the credits rolled, social media erupted again. People shared clips with captions like "This is what real strength looks like" and "The reality star who broke reality TV." Think pieces flooded timelines about exploitation, ownership, and Black women reclaiming their narratives. For once, the conversation wasn't about gossip, it was about accountability. Even Kirk, watching from their living room, wiped a tear before she noticed. "You changed everything," he whispered. She didn't respond, just leaned back on the couch, letting the silence speak for itself. A week later, a letter arrived, hand-delivered, no return address. She opened it slowly. It was from Mona. "I watched the documentary. You told your truth, and maybe I needed to hear it. I can't undo what was done, but maybe we both can find peace outside of the spotlight. I'm sorry." Rasheeda folded the letter neatly, placed it in a drawer, and said quietly, "I forgive her, but I don't forget." The final montage of the docuseries went viral again. Clips of her fans chanting outside her boutique. Her hugging Miss Shirlene, her saying, "We're not characters, we're people." In classrooms, media professors started using the series to teach about ethics in production. Online, young creators adopted her line, "No more scripts for our pena," as a motto. And somewhere between the noise, the fame, and the freedom, Rasheeda found what she'd lost years ago. Peace. No cameras, no producers, no manipulation. Just her, living her life off script, unedited, and finally, completely real. And if you've made it this far, you already know this story is way bigger than just TV drama. It's about power, truth, and the price of loyalty. But now I want to hear your thoughts. Was Rasheeda right to expose everything? Or did Mona have her reasons? Drop your opinion in the comments below. Make sure you hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on all notifications. Because the next chapter in this story is coming fast, and trust me, you won't believe who speaks out next. Stay tuned, stay watching, and stay ready. This drama is far from over.